So I'm here today with Kieran Phelan of Cloud 360 Accounting. Kieran, just by way of introduction, I hope you don't mind me saying we know each other a reasonably long time now, since 2010 when you started your business and I was your bank manager. At that stage you already had an interest in Xero, and I think we're the only accountant in Northern Ireland with that interest in Xero and are one of the leading practitioners on Xero now at this stage. When I left and started my business in 2013, you became my accountant basically and set me up in Xero, so I've been engaged with Xero since then.
Yeah, we were the first. I was the first Xero Certified Advisor in Northern Ireland in 2010, having sort of found out about Xero late 2009 and finding out about a piece of technology that I thought was going to change the landscape for how accountants and other people can relate to small businesses. Was the thing that drove me to decide to set up my own business in 2010. And Mark, you were the bank manager to help with that process as well.
Glad to be a help. Now you use just Xero at this stage, so you're very much specialist in this area and you have a lot of expertise within your business.
Yeah.
That's something you help your customers with on a day and daily basis.
Yeah, our focus really is on Xero being the core platform and then linking as many bits of other tech as we think a small business needs to automate a lot of their processes. So we really focus ourselves on being a digital finance department and team for a business, and we see ourselves as a finance partner and a department within our clients' businesses. So we're doing monthly and quarterly services as opposed to a once a year kind of job, and we think that's actually serving businesses better now, especially since some of the lessons of the pandemic as well.
Very good. So you basically provide the finance team for the business without the business having to have the commitment of training their own staff, maintaining the training and paying the wages that go with it.
Yeah, it's like we always focus on 4 deliverables, which is we want to help businesses as a digital finance team to help them to make more money, save time, give them better systems and give them peace of mind. So when they come to us, you'll have myself overseeing the whole relationship, you'll have a lead accountant, you'll have tax advisors, you'll have bookkeeper, you'll have payroll, you'll have people doing basically everything that your finance department needs. And that means that the business owner can go and focus on scaling their business, they can focus on their sales and marketing angles, or they can actually cut back on their time and maybe spend 3 or 4 days a week running the business as opposed to maybe 5, 6 or 7.
Very good.
So Mark, question for you, what do you see as the economic outlook for Northern Ireland as we're heading now off the back of 21 into 22, even beyond into 2023?
For me, the biggest factor is the return of stability. COVID was obviously a major shock, as was Brexit. I suppose the big fear initially with COVID was the loss of employment, and the government stepped in with the furlough scheme, which has been a very positive factor. Probably saved a lot of jobs at the end of the day and stopped a lot of panic. We're now at the stage of the furlough schemes ended. There's any number of vacant positions work-wise, so there's no real fear, no significant fear of unemployment at this stage. Inflation's continuing to rise. It's currently twice the government's target, heading towards 5%. I think that'll tail off and come back towards the target over time. But the biggest thing at the minute is probably supply chain. There is help available for people, but I know some of my clients are having major issues. For example, bringing stock from China. They can't plan the time scale. They have a plan in their head that's longer than it was before, twice the time, but they still can't be sure of it. And there's a number of points where that supply chain is just getting stalled. I suppose other factors would be the need for people to continue to invest in their business.
And Mark, in relation to the most recent autumn budget, we took a particular interest in a few things. We felt it was a fairly quiet budget from a sort of tax perspective and so on, but there were certain things in there that have continued from previous announcements, such as the recovery loan scheme. We've got enhanced R&D criteria. We've got super deduction 130% for buying plant and equipment. So is there any other specific measures in terms of how clients and small businesses can benefit from those things in terms of funding that's going to help the economic position as well?
Well, the RLS scheme's an interesting one, the recovery loan scheme. It's moving, I suppose the limits are coming down from 10 million to 2 million. Now most of my clients will certainly fall within that 2 million bracket anyway. But the government guarantees reducing from 80% to 70%. Which shouldn't be too big of an issue, might be a slight issue where people are looking for unsecured loans, effectively unsecured loans with no personal guarantee coming from directors. It's just a wee bit of more of a question for the actual lenders. In my mind, it isn't going to be too significant an issue where we're dealing with property or we're dealing with plant machinery, because at the end of the day the funders always get an asset there to rely on, as well as the government guarantee.
It's not really a deficiency in terms of the changes in the criteria. That's more, to me, a return to normality as well.
It's getting a step closer to that, and ultimately, I mean, all these schemes will end at some point, and people have to be thinking about how best they shape up their business, not just to grow it, but to maintain some support from the likes of the finance companies that they need. What changes have there been to professional services within the accounting sector in the last year?
If I look at that actually from a couple of different angles, I mean, if I think about our business, Cloud 360 Accounting, we're completely online, completely cloud-based, and the pandemic coming, I remember listening, I think it was the Irish government announcement before the UK government's announcement, where they were talking about the need to go and work from home. So I made our decision to go and work from home quicker, but we were able to do that very easy. We literally turned off computers and we just left and everybody plugged in from home and off you go. But that was a big lesson for a lot of businesses who weren't able to do that, who now, even our IT support team are talking about the amount of work they're doing to create remote working and home working for small businesses. That's becoming more of the norm. If you think about, if you remember the BBC clip at one point in time, well before COVID, where there was a child getting dragged out of a room, that's normal now. So that is what I see as being a bit more normal. I think businesses with a certain size of workforce are going for sometimes a shared approach to some days in the office, some days at home. But the big thing that I've actually seen is that COVID taught small businesses a huge lesson, in that when the Chancellor was standing and making all his announcements about the furlough scheme and all the supports and so on, people were literally in panic mode, scrambling for money, ringing me in the middle of the Chancellor's speech saying, what does that mean? It was blind panic mode, and the reason they were panicking is because they didn't know where their business was that day. They literally had to spend time again going, okay, I'm doing bookkeeping for the government, I'm doing bookkeeping to submit returns, I should have been doing bookkeeping to see who owes me money, how much do I still owe out, what does my cash flow look like? So what COVID done for us was we were able to, first of all, we reached out a hand to anybody online, so we set up Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, and literally shared cash flow forecasts with people, and a video to show them how to fill it out for the next 3 months on the basis that COVID might be ending in the 3 months. We were wrong there, but that was the approach that I think we had to have. But it's taught small businesses, I need to know where I'm at. So we get a lot of income inquiries now, even more so than during the pandemic, sort of 6 to 12 months. Get me onto Xero, take the finance department, build it for me. We've had recent clients coming to us from Belfast, and they're basically saying, you know, we have 6 pillars in our business, can you fix the 7th pillar, which is the finance department? And we're literally taking that on board, build a finance department, and reporting back to businesses every week, and then monthly and quarterly, and how their business is doing. People are more in tune now that the technology is available, and they want to make use of the technology, finding exactly where they are today, but also starting to plan ahead.
It's certainly something I would come across in my world as well, because obviously how well their management accounts are prepared and available and accurate helps me, I suppose, obtain finance for them and give evidence of how well they're doing or how well they're not doing. I suppose for small companies, it's a bit of a cultural shift for the sole trader or small partnership, where they've started off doing everything themselves. But sometimes take some time, I find, to let that go. But it's quite often a conversation I have with directors saying, that's not a good use of your time to be doing your own bookkeeping. Find somebody else who can do that well, but make sure you get the reports every month to tell you how you're doing.
I think directors and small business owners are starting to realise that, look, that's not there. I try to say to people, you didn't start a business to become an unpaid bookkeeper, which is effectively what you're doing at the moment, and giving it to the likes of ourselves will be done better and faster. And speed is everything as well nowadays, Mark, as you know yourself, especially when it comes to, like, if it's finance applications, it's like, I need money and I kind of want to get it within the next week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever the turnaround is. Not having an up-to-date bookkeeping team which can give you information like within a couple of days means that you're going to delay the whole kind of process. And people nowadays compare everything to the likes of Amazon Prime. You go on and order something now, you get it tomorrow, and they have that expectation. But to fulfil that expectation, they need to have a proper finance system and a finance team in place. It's not as costly as many people maybe would think, oh my God, I've got a whole team of people working here. But it's a necessity, I think, for them to have people that they can call on, and it doesn't have to be sitting in your office either.
I would agree, and we have mutual clients, and I do see evidence where, provided they're doing what they need to do, your team's getting information, they get the reports even, I think, once or twice within 1 or 2 days at the end of the month.
Yeah.
But the cost of it, to me, is secondary. The cost of not doing it is usually much greater.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you also want to be in a situation where if there are flags to be raised for clients and their businesses, we can raise them quicker and spot things quicker than they will, and push their business in the right direction. Some people and some clients, even that we work with, Mark, have been fine throughout the whole COVID period. They've been well supported by government, and they actually had more money in the bank than they ever had in their business history. But now they need to manage that process going forward. They need to be able to make sure they don't fall into any bad habits as well, and we can make sure as a finance team we do that for them.
So that monthly or quarterly reporting, that'll help them identify opportunities, but also act as an early warning system.
Yeah.
We're all ultimately going to be driven to that point, at least in terms of quarterly reporting, in terms of making tax digital anyway.
Yeah, well, it's coming down the line, and I know it keeps getting pushed back a year at a time because the government are probably not just quite ready for that yet. But to me, I always advise people, don't do what the government wants you to do. You should be doing this for yourself.
Yeah.
Decide what type of business you want and structure things from there and get your systems in place for it on that basis.
Yeah, personally, I would be doing whatever I needed to do that now.
Yeah.
And have the information, and then the making tax digital isn't really an issue.
Yeah, exactly.